Hey YouTubers, welcome to my new movie collections update video for the month of September. I'm glad you guys can join me. I'm glad you guys are still sticking with me. As always, like the video guys, subscribe, share my video around, let others know that I'm doing movie reviews or brief little movie reviews of the films that I picked up during the last about month or so. Again, another small little collection, not huge, but fairly decent selection of films here. So let's get started, right? So the first film that I have to show you is this independent film called Afflicted. And basically the premise is about these two friends that decide, I believe, that they go on a tour either of Europe or they decide to go through a global trip around the world, and they want to document everything. And one of the friends, of course, wants to do this trip because it's a moment that he finds out in his life that he's basically suffering from a brain tumor, I believe. So he wants to take this opportunity to kind of like go and tour, I believe it's Europe. And he wants his friend to come along with him to document everything, document their adventures, everywhere they go, the sights, the sounds, everything. And what happens is that on one of the spots that they land in, they actually go to a party where one of the friends, actually the one with the tumor, kind of befriends a woman and takes it back to their hotel room, and something happens in the hotel room that the next morning you find out that he was brutally assaulted in his apartment. They find him all bloodied, and I believe he has like a scar on his forehead. And throughout the course of the film afterwards, you find out that strange things are happening concerning his friend. Like he starts beginning to have weird effects towards sunlight, and that if he's out in the sun, his skin starts to burn up. He starts discovering that he's got superhuman powers because he's literally jumping 20, 30, 40 feet in the air. Like strange things start happening, so you get the impression that you think that the guy's kind of gotten supernatural powers, probably from the woman that he slept with the night before. But as the story progresses, a lot of these things begin to add up, and you realize that basically he's turning into a vampire. Pretty much like the indications of the sunlight and all that stuff pretty much is a clear indication that he's turning into a vampire. And I have to say that's probably like, one of the unique aspects of this film is that they kind of give us a new take on the ways of vampirism, of how people become vampires, and pretty much just show you, how violent, turning into a vampire can be, because there's moments where, he has to feed, but he refuses, to kill animals, to kill people, because, it's his humanity still trying to fight for control, but yet the urge keeps trying to fight, trying to take him over. So, there are things that happen. I don't want to give away too much because it's actually a really good movie, but things happen, and he in the process he's just trying to figure out, how he can stop it, how can he possibly try to turn back, and it's a really great film. Afflicted. I really didn't know what to expect going into this. The trailers when I saw it looked really interesting. It kind of looked like it actually reminded me a little bit of the movie Chronicle, because it was shot the same way. Found footage, first person, camera shots, things like that. So, and again, it's a really great film. I definitely say if you have the chance and you can find it, definitely pick this up or check it out. It's called Afflicted. Definitely a great, kind of horror of vampire movie. The next film that I have to show you is, of course, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And the movie kind of picks up, I believe, a few years after the events of the first film. And now we have Peter Parker now trying to move on. I believe he's already, finished, or he's graduating high school, so I believe he's about to go to college. And one of the major plots of this film is now we begin to see Peter Parker begin to understand what it means to actually be a superhero, in the sense of taking responsibility for his actions, like having to realize that there are consequences for him not being able to protect everyone that he's been given the task of protecting, since he has these powers. And a lot of it revolves around, again, the character of Gwen Stacy. And for those of you that saw the film, you basically know what happens at the end, and it kind of makes the viewer kind of realize, the evolution of the character of Peter Parker, from being this very naive character, believes that, nothing can ever happen as long as he's Spider-Man, to realizing that things can happen and that he has no control over it, and having to take up the responsibility of, endure whatever those repercussions may be, however tragic as they might be. He has to, deal with them and figure out that, he has to still stand forward for whatever it is that he has to do. hopefully that made sense. I mean, there's a lot that I want to say, but it end up just kind of like just revealing a lot of things that happened in this film. So I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't watched it yet. But overall, I really enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a lot. It was really great. The performances from Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone were really great, top notch in there, you know. And again, if you guys are keeping up on the lore in the Spider-Man universe, in the comic book universe, you know that this is basically a prelude to the Sinister Six films, which is going to be the next series of movies that are going to follow after Amazing Spider-Man 2. But overall, this movie was absolutely fantastic. Jamie Foxx did a great job, you know, playing Electro. Overall, definitely enjoyed it. So I definitely say check it out if you haven't done so. The next film, basically, that I have to show you, I just picked up today, and I haven't really watched it, but I did see it in theater, so I'm really going to be really brief in what I have to say about it. And it is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And I really enjoyed this movie so much. I think I enjoyed this a lot more than I did Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I can't wait to, you know, take it out of the wrapper and watch it again. But, you know, again, basically the premise is Captain America now is, after the events of the Avengers now, and Captain America is trying to, if I remember correctly, is kind of involved in, or accused of, I believe, certain activities that he has no he's not that he has no responsibility, but he wasn't involved in it in any way, shape, or form, but he's being blamed for certain things happening, and I believe government targets being taken out, and they're putting the blame on him, and we find out that the Hydra basically is the one that's working behind all these events that are happening, and they're kind of trying to pinpoint the blame on Captain America. So Captain America has to go to try to figure out how Hydra has been able to infiltrate the U.S. government and S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time, and trying to fix all that stuff, you know, and in the process meeting the Winter Soldier, who we all know is actually Bucky, that we thought was dead from the first film. So for those of you that saw the film, you know basically what I'm talking about, or what I'm saying pretty much kind of is more or less what, you know, the premise of the film is about. And like I said, the visuals, the action, everything about this film was absolutely amazing in terms of the character development and stuff like that. Samuel L. Jackson does a great job, of course, continues to play Nick Fury. Scarlett Johansson, oh my goodness, Black Widow. I mean, yeah, I don't think I need to say much more than that. You know, Chris Evans, of course, Captain America. Enough said. But overall, guys, definitely, you know, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. If you have seen it, of course, it's always worth another look. The next film that I have to show you is this film called The Quiet Ones. And the premise about this film is basically, it's this professor and a group of 2 college students, and I believe the timeline for this takes place during the mid to late 70s, and they're conducting experiments trying to cure a patient that supposedly has been possessed, or, well, they don't say that she's being possessed, but she exhibits strange behavior that may be considered somewhat as though she was being possessed at that time, for the time period. So the doctor basically, you know, has taken it up upon himself to try to cure this person by, you know, conducting random, strange tests. And one of the other characters that is involved in this is a cameraman that pretty much has been tasked to film and document the entire experiment that's being conducted on this young woman to try to see if they can cure her. And pretty much a lot of strange things happen, which leads the characters to believe whether they believe that they are curing this person of whatever ailment she might have, or if they're actually dealing with, you know, another sinister presence in terms of, you know, in terms of a demonic possession. And so it tries to cross the line in terms of trying to make the characters figure out whether they're dealing with something that's actually natural or something that's unnatural. And for the most part, I have to say that was actually really good. I mean, it wasn't scary, but it was suspenseful. It was a little spooky at sometimes too. And but overall, it was a really great film. You know, the performances were really well done. Again, a film that takes place during the 70s. I always seem to be kind of amazed and, you know, a little bit interested in films that, you know, come from that era of the 70s, because I just love the way, you know, things were back then in the 70s. You know, so it's strange. But overall, it was a great film. Definitely say check it out if you haven't done so. Pick it up. It's definitely, you know, something that I would actually add to your collection if you're a collector of paranormal stuff. So definitely The Quiet Ones. The next film that I have to show you is Johnny Depp in Transcendence. And immediately when I saw the trailer for this film, the first thing that I thought was that this looks like it's either a remake or it's borrowing off the premise of an old 80s film called Lawnmower Man. And Surprisingly enough, even though it does kind of look like it resembles that, because Johnny Depp does kind of get transformed into, or gets put into a computer, you know. That's the best way I could put it. But there are other tones, or there are other, you know, plots that happen in this movie that kind of change the entire premise, because it doesn't seem like, you know, he had, like, you know, evil or bad intentions with what he was trying to do. I'm talking about Johnny Depp's character. But there's something actually, you know, more basic, more pure that he had in mind. And it deals with, you know, the character of his wife that's played by Rebecca Hall. So there's a unique little story that's happening there for why he does the things that he does, and how those tasks that he tries to accomplish are connected to, you know, her character in terms of what she was trying to do when they worked together. And Morgan Freeman's character, you know, is another, you know, kind of like one of their friends who's also a scientist too. That was, you know, like they all work together, and you know, stuff happens, you know, and they try to figure out how to fix it. But, you know, overall, I thought it was a really, you know, really great film. You know, it had a lot of things that, you know, made you think, kind of, you know, wonder, you know, oh, is that really true? Can that be possible? And but overall, I really did like it a lot. You know, those little parts in there that kind of did remind me of Lawnmower Man. But other than that, you know, it did take on its own life afterwards. You know, and it was a really great story, you know, through and through. So definitely, you know, if you have the chance, check it out. Transcendence with Johnny Depp. And the last film that I have to show you for this video is this film called The Way, Way Back. And the premise basically is about this young boy who is being driven out to the country, to a summer home, and his mom basically is like the parents are separated, so, you know, his dad isn't in the picture, but the mom is already with someone else. The boyfriend has a daughter also, so it's kind of like readjusting to a new life with a stepdad and a stepsister, and he doesn't really get along because he just doesn't like, you know, this guy Steve Carell's character who's playing a stepdad, you know, and there are things that he's trying to figure out at the same time in terms of trying to see if he can adjust or if he just doesn't want to. And then when they get to the summer home, you know, it's in a different town, and he meets a whole host of other characters that I think, you know, kind of open the kid's eyes in terms of being able to see beyond just some of the hardships that either he's creating for himself or that he's actually realizing is real, that's really happening, that he really just can't seem to adjust well with the way his new family is beginning to turn out. And he ends up working at a water park where he meets, you know, Sam Rockwell's character, who I believe basically is kind of like, he steals the show for this entire movie. Like, I believe like he is the glue that basically puts this movie together. His performance was unbelievable. It was hilarious. It was very truthful, very unique, very honest. And I did like Sam Rockwell's performance in this as well. You know, I like Toni Collette also as the mother. You know, Steve Carell, of course, as a stepdad, you know, is always fun to watch. Maya Rudolph is in this movie as well, so she was cool. And I mean, it was just a great performance, a fantastic cast that was part of this film, and I really did like it. You know, it's kind of one of those coming-of-age stories, you know, with a unique perspective in terms of how this kid is trying to deal with the fact that, you know, his parents are separated, but the mom is not with someone else, and he doesn't see eye to eye with this person. And, you know, it doesn't end the way, you know, you think most movies will. So hopefully I'm not giving away too much with that, you know. But it doesn't end the way you think most movies, you know, would end dealing with this type of scenario. But overall, I really did like it a lot. You know, it was a very thought-provoking film to watch, you know. So it was really cool. So definitely, I say, if you got the chance, definitely check out The Way, Way Back. It's really worth, you know, a look through, you know, so. And that's pretty much it, guys. So that's all the movies that I had to show you for this particular movie collections update video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, you know, like I said before at the beginning of the video, you know, like the video if you liked or enjoyed what I had to say about each of these films, or if you liked the selection that I had, give me a recommendation, guys. You know, tell me what else I should be watching, and subscribe or share my video around. You know, tell them that, you know, let them know that I'm here. And other than that, I think any other news updates. I worked on a couple of short films within the last month, so I'll keep you up to date on that stuff, and I'll be working on a couple of other things within the coming weeks. And since October is right around the corner, I most likely will be doing something special for the month of October in terms of horror films. So definitely look out for that, too, right, guys, on my channel. I'll probably, you know, post a couple of updates here and there in terms of maybe specifically what I'll be doing. But if not, then stay tuned for October for my month-long survival horror movies stuff. All right, guys. So until the next time, guys. All right, keep watching films and stay safe. All right, guys.